Tony Pan behind the Handlebars with Hupy and Abraham. I'm here with Chris Callen, owner and editor of Cycle Source magazine. He's one of the judges for today's show, and we're going to talk a little bit about the show, just an overview of what you think about the bikes, and whatever you want to talk about in the show.
Right on. Well, they Harley-Davidson brought us in. Jeff and the guys from Biker Pros are putting this thing together, the custom show part of it, and they do a really good job. What we're trying to do is a thing called the Editor's Choice that we've been working on with Harley-Davidson for a few shows now. We've been doing Editor's Choice independent for a few years, but what it is all the national and international magazine editors are coming together, and they're coming to these shows like this to give out one award for their specific publication. The bike that they pick gets a full feature and a trophy and everything too, and it's just kind of for us, it's a way to get content for our magazines at the same time participate in a lot of these things regionally so that we can identify what's going on in the custom world from spot to spot.
And it's exciting. I mean, we're seeing a lot of young guys coming up that are building these retro bikes and some of these really custom bikes, and it's a whole young industry coming back up. It's really invigorating the whole industry, because these young guys are going to keep this thing alive.
Our industry has become really fractured, and there's all these different offshoots, and you have the bagger guys and the chopper guys and the vintage guys and the young guys, but that's really an encouraging part when you look at it as a whole, because motorcycling has always been about everybody doing their own thing. I mean, individuality is where it started from.
Everything,
yeah. Right. So I dig the fact, man, that the baggers, while the big wheel baggers are not necessarily my exact cup of tea, I dig the fact that those guys are running their own thing and they're doing their own culture, and that there's room for that here too, just like everything else that we're doing. Yeah. So especially a show like this, when you look around this room, the diversity of the motorcycles that are here, everything from Buell-based to Sportster-based, new bikes, old bikes. It's really good. It's a good time in motorcycling.
Yeah, and what cracks me up is politicians are always talking about job creation, job creation, job creation. This industry has created a whole bunch of job creation with the cottage industry of aftermarket parts, not only for these home builders and custom builders, but there's a whole line of accessories now for Victories, Triumphs, Harley-Davidsons, Indians. So this can continue to grow with job growth if the government would take a good look at this stuff, call their dogs off, like the EPA.
Well, that's it. I mean, the government, we'll create our own jobs. We've always, from the motorcycle industry, the way I came up and the guys who were before me, we've always been self-made people. When we couldn't find something that was the way that we wanted, we made it. When something wasn't available in our area, we learned how to do it ourselves. There's The really great thing about the motorcycle industry is that it's fostering, the handmade ethic again, the building stuff yourself, and it's putting those little cottage industries that our country so desperately needs. That's what built the United States.
Yeah, this isn't bolt-on stuff here. This is all handmade stuff here in this room, and I love it. And I love the fact that, like I said, the young crowd is getting back into it. If the government would leave us alone, this would be it would even grow more, and create more jobs. Yeah.
And a lot faster. A lot of people don't understand. I mean, for the last 10 years, we've really existed in a time where if you haven't paid a lot of attention to guys like you that are sending stuff out, Rogue and Keith Ball, if you haven't paid attention to a lot of that stuff, it just seems like we're in a period of smooth sailing. But there's not. There's new initiatives coming all the time. There's people like, we talked last night about Texas trying that mismatched belly numbers. They want to scrap titles on old bikes that have mismatched belly numbers. Well, through the manufacturing process and the technology and everything that went on in the 60s and 70s, almost all old bikes have mismatched belly numbers.
Sure. So that's what they did.
So it's the kind of stuff that we have to take like a zero compliance approach to, man, and we have to stand up for, for the industry that we make our money from, and support the people that are making it's hand to mouth all the time. There's never been a lot of money in the 65% of this industry of keeping motorcycles running and building stuff that you love. We got to let those guys have the room to make
This is a passion. Nobody's doing it to make a lot of money. It's a passion. I hope all the industry, like you said, continues to grow and work together instead of us and them and them and them. It should be all us. It's one big family. So, good talking to you, Chris.
Yeah, right on, man. And did I tell you the picture of you playing God in Charlie's movie? I want to do an oil painting of that.
I tell people when they ask me, are you really God? I say, well, it's God too, and it's with a small G. Tony Pan behind the Handlebars at Hupy and Abraham.